Welcome to week 2 of the fantasy football season. I'm your commissioner, Brent Hesse, alongside me, Mr. Ben Trudy, who is 1-0 with Pearl Barber. He's a great league owner.
Oh, yeah.
So we're here. We're going to cut right to it. We've got 6 great matchups on the slate this week. The first one, 2 big rivals. Noah Gallegos with Saquon These Nuts versus Brock Hayden getting lucky at the Hilton. Ben, what do you see from these two teams this week?
Looking at freaking Brock's team, AJ Green decided to pop off. Andy Dalton had a great first quarter and a half, and then he realized he's not a franchise quarterback and just slammed on the brakes, but he still put up 24 points. His defense posted 2 points. That's certainly not what you're looking for out of your defense. He was really hoping for something better. Looking at the team, though, that Connor character does seem to have it together in Pittsburgh. Le'Veon Bell has held out. He's got Kansas City in what should be a high-scoring affair. Kansas City scores quick points, deep plays. He's definitely the top target there. His bad play, however, if I look into the flex, is Robbie Anderson. I don't know if Brock knows this or not. He had 1 catch.
1 catch, that's
for
correct.
41 yards, 1 catch. Quincy Enunwa is by far the number 1 target.
Terrell Pryor might be number 2.
He might be number 2. Robbie Anderson, I think, will struggle and not be what he was last year with Sam Darnold, the new quarterback. Robbie Anderson is my low on him, and I would still say A.J. Green will be his top target.
For me, I think Roethlisberger is going to be the top guy. I know you like Connor, but I think the Chiefs are going to do a better job shutting down the run, but the pass game is going to be where the Steelers get their points. I think Roethlisberger tops A.J. Green just slightly and gets in that mid-20s to high 20s as his highest scorer. Him and A.J. Green are going to have to put the team on the back, though, because I don't see too much effort after that. Robbie Anderson is definitely my low point. He'll be lucky to see a target, much less a catch. So please get Robbie Anderson out of all lineups and all formats immediately.
Yeah, definitely a struggle with the flex. And if I look over at Noah's team, the first guy is what I'm looking for out of Noah's team. Phillip Rivers gets the Buffalo Bills' new quarterback. Josh Allen will go under center. I don't know what he's going to do. He'll probably turn the ball over a lot. Phillip Rivers will look to get back after that 0-1 loss. I really think he might tear it up for like 350, 4 scores.
Sheesh. You know, you think that's an exaggeration, but it's not at all. Rivers is here, folks. And if it's not Rivers, I think it's Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard's got the Seahawks. Both Royce Freeman and Phillip Lindsay did well against them. I expect Howard to get a lot of touches and get in the end zone. I expect Howard to go for 20 this week.
And currently looking at Noah's flex spot, it is empty, but I imagine he'll make the correct changes after I've heard a trade will go through.
Corey Davis.
That'll be exciting. Mariota will come back off the injury. We'll see what that offense has to do. I'm looking forward to that Tennessee-Houston game, actually, by the way. See 2 offenses really try to come together. But looking at his team, who might struggle? Man, I really don't like Detroit and what I saw the other night. Kenny Golladay popped off for 100 yards. Golden Tate scoring touchdowns, catching passes. Marvin Jones is a little suspect for me at this point in time. San Francisco, not the best defense, but I just don't think Detroit has it all together, and they may struggle on the road. I think that'll be his low point.
Marvin Jones is a good pick for low point, but I'm going to have to go with another guy. It looks like Jordan Reed is going to be his low point. I know he's got the Colts defense, but I don't think I've seen Jordan Reed play in 2 straight games in the NFL in years. I expect him to go down with a concussion or broken bone. Not manifesting an injury here, but
manifestation's real.
Poor Noah G. I think you're going to be biting the bullet with Jordan Reed. All in all, this is a close matchup. What do you think the final score is going to be? Who's going to get the dub?
The thing I'm looking at, though, is the kicker defense. Kind of a luck of the draw play. You see his defense scored 2. Vinatieri, Indianapolis Colts, they've been suspect. Who knows what he'll score? If Noah can get enough points on that defense kicker luck action, maybe swing a few points, I see him having a chance with Rivers going off. But I do, in fact, with all in all, I think Pittsburgh will have a high-scoring day. I do think Brock gets the victory here for sure.
You know, I think Noah's going to come back. He's going to be down a lot going into Monday night, but Jordan Howard is going to get just enough to get the win. Noah, you're going to be 1 win, 0 losses, 1 tie.
Manifest it, bro.
In the other matchup in this division, we've got Zachary Wilson versus Joe Prestigiacomo. Both these teams looking for their first win of the season. It's going to be a desperate game out here. What do you think is going to happen, Ben?
Well, looking at both matchups, I see 2 decent teams. One I like better in Wilson's team, but I won't count Joe completely out. I definitely see some good matchups for him. Definitely Keenan Allen and Adrian Peterson. I'm stuck in between that. AP has shown life. He gets the Colts at home. I don't know if the Colts can stop the run. AP could post an old-time number. Keenan Allen also should eat against Buffalo. I'm going to give the top score, though, to Keenan Allen. I think he will absolutely just tear up the Buffalo Bills defense. I think he goes for $150, probably a score, definitely a score. So he's my top. The one I'm most suspect about, and I think Joe's a little too hyped about, is Isaiah Crowell. He had 10 carries. He was actually out-touched by Bilal Powell. Remember, he's still there. Crowell's day was nice, and he did get that 60-yard run.
A lot of it was in garbage time.
Right, a lot of it was in garbage time. He did get that 2-yard touchdown. I don't think he has the same success this week. I think he just posts like a 3 or 4 normal 30, 40-yard game for Crowell. That's going to be his low point. What do you think?
I actually agree 100%. I think Keenan Allen will be the high scorer. Peterson will mix in there too and get a bunch of points for Joe. Crowell, I think he's going to be out-touched by Powell again. The only concern is he does have Fournette in his starting lineup right now, who is a game-time decision.
I don't see a handcuff on the team. That's a tough draw.
It looks like if Joe is going to be without Fournette, he may have to throw Stills or Garcon into the lineup as the most likely potential options. I still think either one of them would be a better flex option than Crowell. Maybe Garcon's not. It's hard to say, but I look for either Fournette to be out and him be the lowest score or Crowell to be the lowest score. Now on the side of Wilson, hooked on a Thielen, he's looking to get back in the winning column after a devastating draw in week 1.
Those are tough.
Yeah, they definitely are, but that's just the way football goes sometimes, you know? Wilson's the Steelers, and when you turn the ball over that much like Stafford did and Big Ben did, you're going to tie against shit teams. It's just simple as that. So this is what we got. And for Wilson, I think it's hard to not like Michael Thomas again this week. He got targeted a bleep ton last week, and he's got Cleveland, who gave up 100 yards to Juju and 80 and a score to AB. Michael Thomas is the play of the week, folks, and his worst play is the running back in that same matchup Joe's play is Kenyon Drake. He's at the Jets, a stouter defense than most give credit for, and Drake has been ceding touches to Gore and some rookie. So I don't know if Kenyon Drake is going to be that reliable player. Wilson was hoping he's going to be at RB2.
Man, I have to absolutely agree. That's exactly what I was looking at. Drew Brees showed no sign of slowing down. They looked like they were in practice throwing slant routes all day. Michael Thomas should be able to eat up Cleveland. I think that'll be a high-scoring game as Cleveland keeps up a little bit with them. No signs of slowing down. And Kenyon Drake ceding touches to Gore, like you said. Gore was effective. He is still cut it in the tank.
Oh, man, all the old guys play well. Gore, Sproles, Marshawn Lynch, they're all like 33 and above, and they all played well in week 1.
Showing signs of life. So
it's
I
2012 all over again, folks.
Exactly. At the Jets.
Mike Thomas!
Goodness gracious. At the Jets, I think he will not have a good game. He will definitely be the low point. But looking at these matchups with...
One thing first. Do you question Wilson's decision to stick with Stafford at the Niners after just a complete stinker? Are you surprised he didn't go out and try to find a quarterback on the waiver wire?
I'm surprised he didn't get a guy like Tyrod Taylor or Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, both great options after week 1, decent matchups coming up. I'm surprised he didn't at least roster one. I don't know, does he have a backup currently?
It looks as if he does not.
He does not. So he appears to still ride the Stafford train. I don't blame him. It's only 1 week. It was kind of a weird game, pick 6, and then a lot of weird things happened. Stafford, give him a chance to get back on track. He's got a lot of weapons, and that offense could come alive here in this next week. So I don't blame him for riding the train.
What is your prediction for this week's game?
My prediction still is Wilson, based off the fact I think he just has a slightly better team and some good matchups with Adam Thielen and Melvin Gordon, who should have a great game against Buffalo. Adam Thielen against Green Bay. You absolutely want Aaron Rodgers under center in that game to keep points on the board, make Minnesota not rely on Dalvin Cook. I think he'll have more points here and just slightly beat Joe. I think he beats Joe by like 10 to 15.
I think Wilson's big edge is going to be in the defense, where he's got the Broncos defense against the Raiders. And while Joe has a great defense, the Jags are playing Tommy B. So that's going to give the edge to Wilson and what would normally be an edge to Joe. Also, another huge factor is going to be Melvin Gordon versus Keenan Allen. Both get the Buffalo Bills defense. Between them, there'll probably be 3 touchdowns. If it goes 3-0 one way, that could be the difference in the game. But I expect Wilson to get the W as well.
Good one.
We're moving along to the old rivalry between me and Mason Hubler, Nancy Miller crew, buttkicker.com. Since this is my matchup, I'm going to let Ben Schrudy take the reins here for most of it. Ben, what do you look for this week?
I'm looking for a great matchup between the Nancy Miller crew, who popped off last week. He's trying to get the steam still rolling, but he struggled opening night. Tyler Eifert drops 2 points. Alex Collins, a fair day. He had receiving yards, but he couldn't find the end zone. Got a vulture touchdown. That's got to hurt Brent a little bit. He rides the Kansas City Chiefs into this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's got Mahomes, Kareem Hunt. He's even got the kicker. But it's hard to blame him. They put up a lot of points against the Chargers. They have a great offense. Mahomes is a great starter. I can't blame him for it. I think Kareem Hunt will be his top scorer this week. Pittsburgh, they didn't really do too much to stop Carlos Hyde. He had a decent week last week. So I think Kareem Hunt is definitely his top scorer. If I'm looking at the tough side, it could be Devontae Adams or Nelson Aguilar. I do like Aguilar to start a little bit. Tampa Bay game could be high scoring, as Ryan Fitzpatrick showed a lot of life there. But I think Devontae Adams could struggle this week. I think Aaron Rodgers, even if he does play, won't have the same mobility. Minnesota's a tough defense. I don't think Adams has the games on board. He could have get a touchdown in the red zone if be, but that'll be his low point. Kareem Hunt will be his top scorer for sure. But obviously a lot riding on the Kansas City Chiefs. I like it. It's his favorite team. Why not?
That's so dope. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think either Mahomes or Hunt will be my high score. You mentioned Adams, who does have an injury concern, as well as Rodgers, his quarterback with an injury concern, playing against Minnesota. Should I go with Robert Woods against the Cardinals?
I would not blame you. I would wait to see what they say about Rodgers. If they say he's good to go and can move around, I mean, I don't think they will play him unless he's good to go. There's no point in week 2 to throw him out there into the storm.
Especially against that fearsome
correct.
front
If he is not close to 100%, there is no reason to throw him out there. If he does, that must mean he feels good, and I think he's a safe play at that point.
And what do you think for Mason's side?
Mason's crew, he has a very good squad. They had a very good week 1. You still have to ride this Tyreek Hill dude. He did everything. He was coming across, getting flip touch passes. He was returning punts. He was making big plays. The kid's a freak. He's absolutely gotten into top wide receiver one area. I think they continue to just feed him the ball. I don't think Pittsburgh will have the answer against Tyreek Hill here. However, looking at his bad side, I think
Here's what I think his bad side is.
Yeah.
Titans defense against
goodness.
Houston and
I
Deshaun
don't
Watson.
look at the defense too much, but
Watson is pissed off. He just got picked off by the Patriots, made him look like a rookie again in the second year. And they might get Will Fuller back.
he is expected to play.
Sheesh. I don't know why the Titans defense is doing it in the starting lineup, but this could be like the Thursday night Ravens defense all over again.
That is an interesting option as well. I mean, the Titans couldn't even stop Kenny Stills. I mean, Kenny Stills was scoring 75-yard bombs. I mean, Houston likes the deep ball. They got a few guys that can take it long. I do expect Deshaun Watson to really get it going too as well. So that is a suspect play. Interesting pick. Also, I'm going to talk about Dion Lewis. A lot of people like him. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up the work he's done. That was a very weird game the other day where it lasted 6 hours, and he did kind of ride a hot hand into the second half, playing on passing downs, also getting rushes. He had the rushing touchdown. It's interesting to see what they'll do about Derrick Henry. I mean, he's still in his rookie contract, but they definitely want to get that guy involved as well. He's a good running back, so that'll be interesting to see. I think he might slow down a little bit and not have the game you may be looking for.
That's fair. I also think this game is going to come down to that Chiefs-Steelers game. Obviously, I've got Mahomes and Hunt, and Mason's got Tyreek Hill. Whichever one between Hunt and Hill plays better, it really could be the difference in the win this week. What do you think?
My prediction will have to go to the Kansas City Chiefs homeboy, Patrick Mahomes and Kareem Hunt. They connect for a touchdown, and Hunt has one on the ground. I think they explode.
That would be huge. I need to get back to even in the division, bring Mason down to 1-1 as well. Of course, I'm picking myself to win. I like my team, but Mason's got a very formidable one. This one could come down to Zeke on Sunday night.
That's wild.
In the other matchup in that division, we've got Eric Day, who had a great showing against me week 1, versus Mitch Gordon, who many people were surprised by at the draft. And he picked a pretty solid team, but once again could not come out on the positive side week 1, falling to Mason Hubler. Let's see what we got in store for Show Me Your Johnson versus Two Girls, One Cup.
So looking at Two Girls, One Cup, he has a very similar strategy to Brent Hesse with Tom Brady, Chris Hogan, and Gostkowski. Unfortunately for him, though, they have a very tough matchup at Jacksonville. It's a revenge game from last year, so that place is just going to be a madhouse. I'm actually not high on Chris Hogan. I'm benching him in my 2 other leagues for guys like Quincy Enunwa and others. They've signed Corey Coleman. Cordero Patterson's involved. Philip Dorsett's involved. I do not like Hogan this week after getting just 1 grab last week. He's going to have to play an elite defense. I think he doesn't have a good game at all. But his one shining moment here is Alvin Kamara. I mean, that New Orleans Saints offense did look spectacular. Kamara looks great. They're still without Mark Ingram. He'll get rushes. He'll get catches at home. Kamara will definitely pop and get his there.
That's really the clear choice here. Kamara is going to be his leading points getter. So I'm going to go with second. I think it's going to be Kelsey. Kelsey had a terrible week last week. Only 1 catch for 6 yards, dropped the pass, but was targeted 6 times. He was second in the team in targets behind Tyreek Hill. I expect Kelsey to get involved a lot more. I think he'll be Mitch's second leading scorer on the week. When you look at the downside of Mitch's team, he does have Devonta Freeman in the lineup, who is listed as out.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's only Friday, so no need to freak out completely yet.
He's got time.
If you're a big two girls, 1 cup fan. But
if you're in that division, you may want to shoot Mitch a text because I can't promise you that he will check his lineup. He usually just likes to ride it on until he finally gets a text. So someone may want to shoot him one.
And he does have some viable flex options on the bench, as in Cooper Kupp or Randall Cobb or even Austin Eckler against the Bills. So he could be doing pretty well with any of those 3. Definitely better than Freeman, who is out.
Anything but 0. Looking over at Eric's team, like Brent mentioned, I think Deshaun Watson will be his focal point this week. Watson gets Fuller back, a great matchup against Tennessee. I think this game could be high scoring. Nonetheless, Deshaun Watson will try to get back to where he was last year, putting up monster numbers. That will be his top points. I'm going to have to go against something, and that Wilson may not like. It's David Johnson at L.A. Arizona did not look good offensively. David Johnson did not have a good game. And if anybody watched week 1, LA's defense is no joke. That's at LA. I don't think they move the ball very well. Without a good quarterback and passing offense, it limits David Johnson's ability. I think that could be his low point this week. Even if it's not his lowest, when you're not getting the production out of David Johnson, it's not good for your team.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I like 2 of Eric's players a lot that you did not touch on. One is Allen Robinson, who could be in a shootout against Seattle this week. Seattle gave up a lot of yards and points to Emmanuel Sanders last week, and even Demaryius Thomas got in on the action. And I think the Bears are pissed off after the way that game ended. I expect A-Rob to pop, and that'll be a good sign for both Eric's fantasy team and his Chicago Bears. Also, another one, the Rams defense is playing against that woeful Arizona offense. The Rams defense might go for 30. Marcus Peters might not have just 1 pick 6, he might have 2, which pains me to say. But the Rams defense, honestly, I think will be his leading scorer this week. Just along similar lines as you, his running backs both have talent, but they're both on some tough offenses. LaShawn McCoy and the Buffalo Bills are playing the Chargers, and the Chargers did a good job against Kareem Hunt last week, limiting him to under 50 yards on the ground. If Hunt can't get 50, McCoy's not getting anywhere close to 50. He got 20 rushing yards last week and was pulled from the game in the 3rd quarter just because the whole entire Bills offense sucks. So
They're about to pull the plug on the whole thing.
Yeah, they might honestly just disband the franchise here soon, or at least just cancel the season and wait for next year. So I think McCoy's going to be the low scorer. And when you look at who's going to win this matchup, it's hard to pick against Eric's team. It is loaded from top to bottom. I mean, even McCoy and Johnson, they're both good, talented backs. They just have tough matchups and they play on bad teams, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of them makes a great play and has a long touchdown themselves. There's just really not much of a weak spot on Eric Day's roster at this current time, besides Michael Crabtree only getting 5 last night.
Agreed. I think the New England matchup will hurt Mitchell Gordon. That game will probably be low scoring. I don't think the Patriots score over 24 points. They have running backs. They like to hand it to the running backs near the red zone these days. You never know when Rex Burkhead might pop. There are some injuries there, but I just don't think Tom Brady, Hogan, and Gostkowski will put the numbers that he will typically need out of New England, and I think he does fall short this week. And obviously Freeman, I hope he gets him out of the lineup because that's not going to be
Yeah,
helpful.
we want a competitive game either way. We want to see Mitch succeed, but it's looking like both of us here predict Mitch falling to 0-2 on the season. And we're here with what could be the best matchup on this week's slate. It's the 1-0 Pearl Barbers versus the 1-0 Josh Gordons, the only two 1-0 teams facing off against each other this week. And boy, oh boy, is it a doozy. Pearl Barber has assembled himself a great squad, dropping bombs on everybody. And this week, he's ready to drop bombs with Tyrod Taylor getting the start over Aaron Rodgers against the New Orleans defense that made Fitzmagic look like an all-pro. For Pearl Barber, I think you've got to start with Julio Jones. He freaking got a shit ton of targets against the Eagles, and Carolina's front seven is good, but their back end is definitely questionable. Of course, Dak Prescott and his no weapons couldn't exploit it last week, but Julio Jones is not Allen Hurns, in case anybody is wondering. I expect Julio to get in the end zone. Sarkisian, everyone's pissed that they think the red zone offense is trash. Julio will get a chance this week, and I expect him to capitalize. On the downside, it's got to be the man himself, Peyton Barber. It's a tough matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, and for as much grit as Peyton Barber has as an individual, I just don't see the talent of being able to get by all those freaking behemoths that Philadelphia sets in his way. Peyton Barber is looking for a low score this week. Ben, what do you have to say about your team?
I'm excited to see about Hopkins. With Will Fuller coming back, I think Hopkins gets back on track. I'm very excited about Devin Funchess as well. Greg Olsen went down. That could be a high-scoring game in Atlanta. Where I am very scared is still my tight end position, Jimmy Graham. He only had 2 catches this week with Rodgers most of the game. But whether Rodgers suits up or not, I don't know if it makes much of a difference. I'm kind of just hoping Jimmy Graham gets a few red zone looks, just kind of gets involved in the offense. That was not the week I was looking for, but I also agree with your Peyton Barber analysis. But as you see my quarterback slot, I've decided no matter what happens with Rodgers, I have decided to go with Tyrod Taylor based off the fact that Hampel has Njoku and Josh Gordon. So I'll be rooting for a lot of Tyrod Taylor rushes and Jarvis Landry magic.
That's awesome. Great defensive play by the strategist, Ben Schroedy, and Pearl Barber himself. Another great strategy move, throwing in the Bengals defense last night, who clearly outplayed the Ravens defense. Still did give up a lot of points and yards when it was all said and done, but the turnovers and sacks equated to 13 points by the defense. You got to be happy with that, beating out Justin Tucker.
Oh, for sure. When I look over at Hampel's team, if you look at our matchup, all of our games are done by 1 o'clock. But there's one game on his matchup that is not done at 1 o'clock. And it's Todd Gurley at home versus the Arizona Cardinals.
You better give yourself a 35-point cushion.
Might need a drink for that one. We'll see. Arizona got absolutely throttled by AP and Chris Thompson last week. Gurley's a 3-down back. I could be up 35, 40 points, and I really don't think I could feel comfortable. I'm being serious. Like, I'll be sweating. That game could be nutso for Todd Gurley. He will be for sure the top scorer. If he's not, there's something going on in the LA. I don't know. His low point for me will have to be David Njoku. I don't think Njoku will have that great of a game at New Orleans. He definitely got the targets last week, but he wasn't producing the catches. I think Josh Gordon coming back, I think he will be a focal point that Tyrod Taylor tries to get into the offense and going. I think he only had maybe 1 or 2 catches, if I'm correct about that. I think they really want to get Josh Gordon, as he's now named the starter. He will be back in the lineup, and he will probably get a lot of targets.
Yeah, for Happel's team, there's a lot of places you can go. Obviously, Todd Gurley is an unfair pick because why wouldn't you expect him to just go absolutely crazy once again this week? But I'm going to go with 2 other guys that I really like. Drew Brees is playing against the Cleveland Browns, and I don't think he's going to turn the ball over 5 times like Roethlisberger did last week. While I do like Ben's decision to play Tyrod to try to play some defense on Gordon and Njoku, if you look across the line, it's Tyrod Taylor versus Drew Brees in both fantasy and real life, with the Browns facing off against the Saints, and I will take the Saints on that one every single time. So I expect Brees to go for a lot of points. Juju Smith-Schuster also gets that weak Kansas City secondary. He's going to get his, there's no doubt about it. In the end, I still think Gurley's going to be the highest scoring player for Josh Gordon this week. The low, as you mentioned, I think it's Njoku. He just isn't a very high-volume guy. Between him and Jimmy Graham, neither of your tight ends are. One of them, you're just going to have to hope you're playing the touchdown lottery here. start scratching, I guess. In the end, honestly, I think Josh Gordon will be the highest scoring team of the week. So as much as I'd love to give Pearl Barber the chance to go to 2-0, I expect Josh Gordon and Austin Happel to be at 2-0. While Pearl Barber will still put up a respectable total, it won't be enough to topple this dope team.
Yeah, that's a very fair assessment. His Chargers defense gets Buffalo as well. Even though they did terrible against the Chiefs, they will get back together, and who knows what Josh Allen has in store for him. He'll get points there. I'll give the edge to Happel as well. I don't know how many Gurley's going to point or score. I'll probably lose count after 35. Either way, he's got a good team. We'll see.
There you have it. We did not save the best for last here in the GOAT League. We've got All I Do Is Wins versus Odell No. We may have saved the worst for last. Poor Ben Walker. He suffered the injury/retirement bug in preseason and then suffered the Brock Hayden scamathon. Now he's looking at Joe Mixon as his star player, who recently we have breaking news reports coming out of Cincinnati that Joe Mixon may need arthroscopic surgery to clear up his knee. So if anything, any good news Walker had is back down the drain. If there is good news, though, it's he's playing Odell No, who put up a Joe-like point total in week 1 in the 40s. What I do like about All I Do Is Wins is Antonio Brown. Obviously, he's their number 1 player. Mixon's number 2. And Antonio Brown always gets his. There's really not much to talk about, just like Gurley. He'll go crazy. Another guy I really like is Chris Thompson. CT Crunch against the Colts. Alex Smith loves him. Me and Ben love him. Everyone loves him. I expect CT Crunch to have a great game. Somebody that I expect to struggle, Marshawn Lynch. The Oakland Raiders are not good at football. The Denver Broncos are better at football. And Marshawn is probably not going to bowl his way to another 10-yard touchdown, which was his only impressive play in week 1. So I think it's going to be on mostly the shoulders of AB, CT Crunch, and Jared Goff for All I Do Is Wins this week.
Yeah, I agree. I was right there with you. Mine was going to be CT Crunch, my favorite player of all time. He gets Indianapolis at home. He was literally he didn't have a single catch over 16 yards, but racked up a ton of yards on his catches. He looked good running the football as well, totaling 120 yards. He will absolutely eat the Colts. And I absolutely agree with the Marshawn Lynch pick. Denver's a tough defense. Jalen Richard, I think, has been getting a higher snap count as well, something we didn't really expect too much, but he is the passing back. And he looked actually pretty good on some plays, and I think they'll try to get that guy more involved as well. So Marshawn Lynch won't have many points. Looking over at Odell No, you definitely, I think his best play here will be Odell Beckham at Dallas on Sunday night. The Giants definitely didn't have the offensive start they were looking for, but they get Dallas, who is definitely underrated defense. But I think OBJ, he always seems to eat against the Dallas Cowboys. It'll be a big primetime matchup. I really think he explodes. Who I currently don't like in his lineup, and I'm at a loss of words.
Everyone
right now.
else?
Everyone else.
You don't like anyone else besides Odell Beckham?
Oh, there's a few good players, I suppose. But A.K.A. Alex Smith at home against the Colts, as much as I hate to say it, he will have a good game against the Colts. That's where CT Crunch might be able to get some of those points out of there. But who I definitely hate is Rex Burkhead and his flex currently at Jacksonville. I think it's a low-scoring game with all the new players New England's bringing in. I don't know who the focal point is. I mean, Cordero Patterson's getting carries at this point. You really just don't know what New England's going to do. He's got great options on the bench right now in Quincy Enunwa and Will Fuller. I think those guys are both way better than Rex Burkhead, and I think even over Marquise Goodwin, who is questionable so far. Even if Goodwin plays, I bet his snaps could be limited.
Yeah, I agree with this report from Odell No. Odell Beckham is his star player. And the way Dalvin Cook is looking, not getting too many carries to begin with, I don't know. It's really scared me as a potential RB1. So I think between Beckham and Alex Smith, that's going to be where most of his points come from. A guy that I really don't like, Royce Freeman. I know people were high on the rookie, but he did have a decent game, but he was losing touches to both Booker and Phillip Lindsay last week. I think that trend continues. Royce Freeman is going to struggle, and I think they're going to mostly be worrying about trying to pass it on the Oakland Raiders defense. So, honestly, there's a lot of different choices for that worst player on Robbie's team. Marquise Goodwin is injured, and he's in the lineup. He may play, he may not. We'll have to see. I guess we have to pick a winner, Ben. Will it be another tie this week, or will somebody win this one?
I certainly hope there's a tie because that's awesome. But I think the big matchup here is Odell versus Antonio Brown. Can one of those two put in maybe just like an 80-yard game while the other pops for 160 and a score? That could really make the difference in the game. I think the edge here I will give to Odell Beckham. Odell, no. I think Odell has the better game overall, and I think some of the other pieces in his lineup will give him enough points. And Dalvin Cook and Alex Smith. Definitely the Redskins defense as well against Indianapolis at home. They could fare well. I definitely give the slight edge to Odell now if he fixes his flex as well.
And for the second time in only 6 matchups, we're going to disagree here. I like Ben Walker to pull out the win. All I do is wince. He did lose week 1, and he's been losing left and right, his players and his hope and his joy. But he will get a win this week. Good luck, Walker. I think he'll be 1-1. And that'll do it here for week 2 fantasy football preview. Any final thoughts, Ben Ferruti?
It's still early. Guys, don't freak out about your players. I know somebody traded me like their second-round pick for like my 9th rounder. That's how you do it. That's how veterans do it. Joe, good luck with that. I hope it still works out for you. But, this is the time where you really get a feel for your team these first 3 weeks. Don't freak out. Things can change quickly on a dime. Somebody goes down, Todd Gurley goes down. No, not to manifest anything, but injuries happen, and you just got to be ready for them and keep up with your lineup and not have DNPs and O's sitting in your lineup and making no moves to change that, as Mitch has proven to do that. But we'll see. It's interesting to see. It's still very early.
Yeah, very early as well. Like you said, the first 3 weeks, you don't have to freak out, but they are crucial playing those division rivals. And if you need running backs, and everyone needs running backs, just come knocking at my door. I've got freaking Philip Lindsay, TJ Yeldon, Matt Breida all on the bench. So please come and get those guys. They're all dope. Other than that, it's been great talking to you. Good luck to all. This is week 2, GOAT League.
Thanks for having me.